All right, we're here. Good morning. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I hope that the audio is working. I'm going to put some music on. I don't have an agenda today. I'm just here doing stuff. And if you've got questions, I'm here just to help. Hopefully, that'll, I'll be here for somebody. But that's it. I'm just here to help. But if you don't have any questions, I'm going to work on some stuff and we'll see what happens. That's it. So hang out if you like, or don't. Either way, I'm just here making myself available. I hope you're having a good day. I hope you're having a good week. But especially if you're doing anything spring, I don't have all the answers, but sometimes I know stuff. Yeah, feel free to ask. I don't have anything on the agenda. I got a couple of things that I just like to keep things updated. Hold on one sec. All right, false alarm. Hey, I'm muted. Am I muted now? Let's see here. Let me see if I got this. Please hold. Audio, this. Am I still muted? That would be a problem here. Let's try this. Can you hear the music? Or is it just my mic? Yeah, see. Not muted. Okay. Excellent. Can you hear the music and the mic, or is it one or the other? So hopefully there's a little bit of background music and a little bit of mic. And Mr. Kelly, I am very glad that you're here. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm smiling. This is great. I'm going to pull up some other stuff here real quick. Get some of my other help going. And yeah, all right, so is the audio okay? Can you hear things? Odd. Other streams are fine. Interesting. Okay. That's interesting. While I'm at it, let's do this. I want to be here. I want to be here. Oh, look at everybody's here. Let's do this. I want to be here. Mute that. We don't want the double dip here. Let me do a shout out. Fantastic. We're doing stuff, and it's been busy, but in a good way. I like to do stuff, and today is a day where I have 0 customer things on my calendar, so I get to be here, and I'm excited. I came into the year thinking, hey, I was just going to be here every morning and doing things, but yeah, things kind of get stomped on. So I'm trying to re-swizzle my calendar and get things going. Just get something regular, right? I should be able to do this every day, and I love the feedback. I love that we're getting things over hurdles, and we're getting through milestones, and that happens. Yeah, work, right? The reward for good work is more work. So yeah, that's what we do. So I got some ideas. Of like maybe just stuff that I can get done, right? As a normal, like let's go to production and let's do some things. One of the good feedbacks that I got recently was like, hey, like when we're doing stuff on the screen, let's bump it up a little bit. So I'm gonna bump up my fonts a little bit, and hopefully we can make things a little bit easier to read. Because I like to watch things on my phone, and it's hard sometimes to watch things on my phone. So because you might be watching on your phone, I'm going to try to give the code as much real estate and as much space and stuff as possible. So we're going to do some things, right? We had some recent releases, and we're gonna play around a little bit. I got these different projects, fun. Let's go over here to javagrunt.com. I did get some more infrastructure set up, so some of the other things are in place. And let's just here's what we were doing. Let's take a look. The last thing that I was doing on one of these streams was I was validating, comparing the difference between a Keda solution for scaling to 0 and Knative. So let's pull that up. Let's just pick up where we left off. Let me get some screens here. And let me reset. We'll get some screens going. I like to draw pictures. I like to use Excalidraw. So let's go. Here's what we have in production today. We have our K3S, and all this is for like Spring, right? Like in Spring workloads in fun places on the edge. So I've been using K3S. It's light, it's simple, it works, it's conformant. I can do those things. So today in production, what we have, if I go to kubectx, let's go to ARM64, this is where it's running, and I look at K9s, what we'll see is I've got Knative running, and for those of you that have been around, I have Knative kind of, and then we can't see as much stuff here, and what Knative requires, is this, right? That's it. But also the Service LB. So Knative has some things. Knative serving is I think the correct terminology. But Knative serving kind of takes over the whole cluster, and Knative serving, provides ingress. So here we've got Knative serving. So everything that gets deployed inside that cluster kind of has to be, it doesn't have to be, but Knative takes over the whole cluster. And I'm managing things cluster-wide when I'm delivering things through Knative. So the config all goes through Knative. Takes over my ingress, or doesn't take over, but it provides ingress, integrates with the ingress as well. And that's what we have. So for Java Grunt, in order to do the scale to 0, I've got Cloudflare D. That'll still be there. I've just got a couple of services where I was testing. We're going to still have some services that are running. Simon, that's right. New tab. Bugged in the new version seemingly so it works on domain level. So rather than not only muting Twitch backgrounds, it mutes all Twitch tabs. Oops. Hey, it happens. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback. Audio is always that thing that gets in the way. But thank you for figuring it out. I was a little nervous. One of the things that I think we agreed on is like each domain should have their own stuff. Like the shared stuff only goes so far. So when I'm deploying namespaces, in those namespaces, I want to deploy things for observability, metrics, logs metrics, and tracing. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I'm deploying Cloudflare D so I can have ingress using the same routes. I can have ingress in different clusters. This is one way I do kind of the active-active piece. And it's not the only way. I know there's other ways to do it. But I also assume that the internet's not good. So when I'm deploying things, I assume the internet's not good, even though I'm at home and I've got, backup internet and things like that. For these workloads, right on the other side of the camera here, there's a big window, and on the other side of the window is outside, and we're gonna put some of these Spring Boot workloads on Raspberry Pis outside. We're gonna do some fun things. So stay tuned for that, right? That'll be coming. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to see if on one device, on one Raspberry Pi that only has 512 megabytes, could I deploy a scale to 0 solution? And I was kind of doing some comparison, this side by side. Here I got the memory, right? This way, I have to deploy all these pieces. I have to deploy all these pieces. There's only one instance of each, but here's our memory numbers. 84, 48, 60, 20, 41. Yeah, but I also need the service LB for courier. And I think that's it, right? Everything else I'm gonna need no matter what. But the idea here is I wanted to compare with other solutions. So what I did was Kube CTX, I run K3D locally on this machine, and we go and take a look at the difference. So here, instead of Knative, which I need to take care of kind of the whole cluster, here with Keda, this is all that I need. And I can configure Keda to separately for each namespace. It doesn't have to take over the whole cluster. So this is what I'm doing. It doesn't even have to take over. Yeah, it doesn't even, I can have this deployed on one node. And I think on the other solution, I think it's going to deploy a service LB across all the nodes. But we got some investigating. The main thing is I want to see if I can, right, just by looking at these numbers, this is a much smaller footprint. But what that requires is the additional service gateway. I don't think this one is native, right? It requires that Spring Cloud Gateway in this solution. It requires Spring Cloud Gateway, but the Spring Cloud Gateway is the listener that is determining how to scale up and scale down. So let's see if I can remember how we had it set. So that's today. And I want to look at doing this. We're going to do some just like side-by-side K3S. And instead of Knative serving, we're going to have Keda. And we'll go kind of into that experience. So let's go over to some code and let's see what we've got here. I'm going to jump out of this. And I made a branch that I'm working on locally for COM, Java Grunt Service Gateway. And just a reminder, all of this code is available here, javagrunt.com. One of the feedbacks that I got, it's like, hey, we might not be able to see that. So I'm going to put that into the chat. And I'll throw it up on the screen because you might be watching on your phone. This is where all of the code lives. And in this repository, all the code was developed like on stream. So we're having fun. So if you want to go back and look, most of the stuff is available on YouTube still. And yeah, you can play along. And as always, PRs are welcome. So let's jump into this code and let's take a look and see where did it go? Did I open it? I did not. So let's open it up. Let's take a look. And I'm going to ask. I bumped it up as far as I could, and within some kind of comfort level. How does this look? Is this readable, or should I go even bigger? Biggering. Is this the latest version of the NIC? Is the other thing I want to check. I feel like it is, but I just want to double check. So I use SDKman, SDK list Java pipe grep. No, let's do it this way. SDK list Java. I want to use the Liberica NIC here. So that is the latest version, right? 23.1.2. I'm going to go ahead and remove this one, just so that I don't, on this machine, I don't want to use the older version. SDK would be remove Java, uninstall, SDK uninstall Java, that. All right. Oh, I know why that's there from a demo. So we're on the latest version of Java. Let's see if we're on the latest version of project. JDK is misconfigured. Let's set it up and let's fix that. Jumping. I want 21.02. Why is it not finding it? Please hold. Let's go and grab a JVM. Please hold. Let's set up JDK. I don't want those versions. Oh, here we go. Detected. There it is. There we go. We're set. Sorry, that popped up on the other screen. So we're here. We see some issues. I want to check to make sure that I'm on the latest and greatest. Spring Boot 3.2.3 got released almost 2 weeks ago. So what do? As a developer, I want to stay on the latest and greatest. What I've done is I set up a alias, and that alias, I call it Spring Cubed. That's my way of going to Spring 3, Spring Boot 3. So I just run Spring Cubed, and that's going to go in and update me, right? It's just a dependency bump, but that practice of what if there was other things, other recipes that I wanted to run, that's how I do it. So we're there, we're using Java 21. I think we're in good shape. Is there anything else I need to update? Oh, we grabbed the gRPC client, because here's what we're doing. I'm leaning into Dr. Sire's This is what I did. I took Dr. Sire's example and I just kind of took it one step further. I wanted to go and play with it. So I'm following his example. Here's the repo that you should take a look at. This is kind of the experiment. And the whole idea is, like, can we use Spring Cloud Gateway to be the front for this scaling up? I took it for a spin, and then I got some feedback. And the feedback that I got was like, hey, let me go and get my feedback. I asked for help, which is a good thing. Let me find my feedback. I'm going to try to find the thread. I consider myself very lucky that I get feedback from Dr. Sire. Like that's pretty cool for me. I'm gonna find it, looking. Just a reminder, like what I do, I deploy a lot of the stuff to Raspberry Pis. So I'm building for different architecture. ARM64, this is a ARM64 machine here. The Apple Silicon is how it's referred to commonly. All right, so in this, so I used route metadata. Here we go. So what I was trying to do was the original example, it would scale up one service, but I got multiple services behind, right? I've got multiple services that I'm trying to stand up. I'm trying to scale up, all the things that aren't being used. The task, no, but the web, the service, the Twitch service, like they don't need to be up all the time. So I have them scale 0 and then stand up as a request comes in. So what I was doing was, and I'm reminding myself, I have a scalar service, I have a scalar endpoint, I can flip it. Stream is active, get metrics back, get metrics. So in this request counting filter, I was passing in, I have a string, I have atomic integer. I'm reminding myself what I did, I said get metric is active, set active, the filter. So I have one filter where I'm grabbing the metadata. So that I can, based on the metadata name and namespace, I handle a different item. inside of count. Did I do that right? Okay, yeah, so this gets the atomic integer out of that counts list, or counts concurrent hash map, to modify. And what I asked was like, hey, is this, if I'm trying to do this for multiple routes, if I want to have scaling to 0 for multiple routes, what's the right way to do it? I don't know what button I hit. Whoops. Let's go back here. So in this filter, I asked like, hey, I used the route metadata to add name and namespace for each route to have their own counter, and kept the counters in a concurrent hash map. And Dave asked, is that just so you can keep track of each route's counters separately? Yes. You could use a new instance of the filter for each route. I could use a new instance of the filter for each route. If I used a new instance of the filter for each route. Oh, okay, I think I get it. So when I set up, no, those are just the services, the service names. This is my routing. So let me go back here. I set up a request counting filter. Oh, I see what he's doing. All right. So the alternative would be to have one of these for each route, which that might make things easier. So instead of passing in the same filter for each one, let me think that through. What I did, I was saying, hey, let's just have one filter, and then that filter has a concurrent hash map for is the route active or not. The alternative is to have a separate filter for each route. So this I think works. So we have hello service, we have YouTube service, and YouTube listeners. So the nice thing is over here on K9s, on this, I'm on my DevMox, you don't see the services that are scaled to 0. Hey, the task stands up and does its thing, but there's a bunch of services that are deployed on this tiny little box, or that would be a tiny box. There's a bunch of services that are deployed, but they're not up. So in order to do that, in order to scale them up, I've got to set up a little port forward here. So we're going to use local port 8080. So now I have port forwarding set up. So now if I go to localhost 8080 actuator health, I see that, hey, I've got stuff happening. Is that the right one? Let's go ahead, actuator info. Make sure I'm hitting the right thing. Whoops. All right, I'm in gateway 0022. I'm on the wrong version of the JVM. But yeah, this has got my gRPC server. So this, I'm hitting the right thing. And it's routing. So if I just hit this localhost 8080, the root route should, right, root should go to root, which is, it should go to my website. So through the localhost 8080, the route says, hey, go and grab this static website. And that's what we should see. And we're good. So that routing is working. But that didn't scale anything up, right? So there's still nothing scaled because the gateway service is up, handling this traffic. Oh, I just thought of something. And I think I thought of it before too. So here, now I want to see something scale up from 0. So here we're on localhost and we want YouTube service, YouTube videos. So it's taken a little bit of time because it's got to scale up. So on the back end, we see that, hey, there's YouTube service. If I go, I'm going to bump this down because I want you to see that other column. So that's the tricky part, right? Is like the balance. So this has only been up for 14 seconds, 16 seconds here. That's the number that we're seeing. But it stood up. Oh, it still didn't respond. Because we're not seeing the results yet. So, oh, it says terminated. We didn't get our data. Do I not have something set up properly? Let's try that again. Because we don't want to go forward until we got this working, right? So it stood up. Let's see if we can catch some logs. Oh, so something's wrong. Unable to connect to Redis. Unable to connect. Oh, so I know what exactly happened. So I had started going down the Redis path and I didn't finish. That's it. I just didn't finish. So let's go see why that's not standing up. Again, reminder, I'm messing around. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have the answers. I don't know what the end goal is. I'm exploring. I'm just kind of digging in to some experimental code. But yeah, I didn't plan a whole lot ahead. So if you've got questions, ask. That's all. Just that reminder. Doesn't matter what you're working on. So here I've said, hey, I have Redis. It's expecting a Redis host and all that good stuff. Now, do I have that set up for local? Maybe that's where I was last time. That sounds familiar because I don't think I got clearly Redis is not deployed. So let's take a look at that. Right? We slide in and out of the Spring stuff, but all of the infrastructure stuff, I have that out there as well, for better or worse. So in this cluster, we're looking at this K3D Juice cluster, the K3D cluster that's running on Docker on my laptop. And inside of that, I said, hey, just deploy Keta. So the only infrastructure I'm deploying is Keta. But I also have a tenant. In that tenant, I've got this Java Grunt COM. Right, that works. Wait. It says, hey, here's the tenant. So we scoot back up here in the Flux control. We go look at the tenant. It's pointing to the Java Grunt dev or dev.javagrunt.com. And that is synchronizing with this repository in this branch, this Keta branch. So let's go take a look at that repository in that branch. Ooh, it's here. There should be a Flux. There it is. So it's been a month since I've worked on this. And I want to look at I want to look at the Keta branch. So this is what's deployed. So if I go in here and I look at the customization, I see that I just said, hey, deploy YouTube listener, the gateway service, the hello service, the YouTube service, and the YouTube task. That's what deployed. Clearly there is no Redis. So let's try to resolve that. Because I think I know what I was doing. At scale, once I get to, oh wait, that won't matter. That won't matter. So what I was thinking was that if I had active, I wanted to see if there was an instance up already. But the load balancing is going to be up here. So when a request comes here, Keta is only going to look and interface with things that are on the same cluster. And I was thinking that I needed a Redis layer to keep track of where those routes were going, but I don't. If it hits this cluster and it doesn't have the service that's being requested, it'll stand it up. And when it's done, it'll shut it down. If the next request comes over to the other cluster, it'll do the same thing. So I didn't need Redis to handle counts, like, hey, is this up or down? So with that, what else was I looking at doing with Redis? I think that's all that I was doing. So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna back out Redis for now, because as I go, I'll probably remember what I was trying to do, but at the moment, I cannot remember. So I'm going to comment out Redis because I don't have it set up on the infrastructure side anyways. And I think we're in good shape at that point. And I don't remember. Yeah, I think we're okay. So let's just do that. Let's hit status. The only thing we changed, what did I change in application YAML? I said, oh, turn on virtual threads. I got that with my upgrade. I think we're in good shape. So this, as is, I'm expecting this new version to work in my local dev cluster with this version. I'm just peeking here. Yeah, we're in good shape. Did I pass it as, yeah. So here we go, git status, git add those two things, right? Just two things, git commit. We're gonna upgrade to 3.2.3 and enable virtual threads and git push. Now, in my setup, that push doesn't do anything. The code is up there, so you now have access to the code. If you're checking out the dev branch or the Keta branch on this repository, you have my changes. But that doesn't do anything. That doesn't build a container. What I've done is I've got two pipelines that are building the native images. I believe I'm doing the native images. We're here. Yes, we're building native images. It tags them and it throws them into Docker. This right here, SDKman install, it's using the graalc-e, but I don't want to. I want to use the same version that I'm using locally. So I'm going to grab that. And this is for consistency. So I'm throwing in a different, so I'm making a few changes here. Look at this. Yes, get some work done. Like that's it. That's the key. I'm so glad to hear this is really cool for me because MetaDev Girl is somebody that I watch, somebody that I put on the screen when I was working. We had different hours and we were doing stuff together, but somebody that I watch, oh, let me watch this. I can do this. Doing amazing things. If I go like, I think I go shout out. How do I do it? I think I just, I forgot what I'm supposed to do. Is it shout out? I literally I'm blanking on what I'm supposed to do here for the shout out. What do I type? I'm gonna just try this. I think it's just shout out at MetaDev Girl. Did that work? No. Is it bang shout out? I don't remember. Oh, it's slash. It's slash shout out. There it is. Slash shout out. Meta dev girl. Boom. There it is. There it is. Haha. Finally did it. There we go. Yeah. So I'm glad you're here. Put it on the background, and yeah, I'll continue to think out loud and yeah, get some work done. So, Maelstrom, first of all, glad you're here. Thanks for hanging out. How does this routing with the gateway service fit in with Kubernetes native routing? It doesn't. So what I'm doing, but that's a good question, right? The only thing that's happening here is what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to draw a picture, right? Inside of my namespace. So this, we're doing Java Grunt com namespace. What I'm doing is I'm going to use the same pattern as I want Springtail Gateway to be that slice across everything. So it's going to sit in front of all the requests. So when traffic comes in, and I've got the other services behind it, right? I got the YouTube listener. I've got a YouTube service. So I've got these things that are sitting behind it. I've got a hello service as well. For now, right? That hello service was just a test. But those things aren't standing up. So when a request comes in, the first thing it's going to Springtail Gateway. So what I need to do is I need to make sure that, hey, this is going to be the kind of front of the line. Everything that comes in for dev.javagrunt.com, everything that comes in on this domain is going to land here, because that's what I'm doing. It simplifies my ingress. So let's go to my ingress, because this is Cloudflare, right? Cloudflare D. But let's go look at that real quick, and I'll show you what I'm doing. Over here in Dev Java Grunt. Oh, my customization layer. Boop here. Here's what we've got going. Flux. Wait, where's the config for Cloudflare D? Oh, I didn't deploy Cloudflare D, but this is what it will be. So let's go back over here. I guess I could do that. Here in the infrastructure, whoops, in our cluster. Let's go to the ARM64 one. I have both deployed. Let's go to Java Grunt com. Where I've got Cloudflare D set up. Here's the config. Cloudflare D is going to be the ingress for me, because I'm in my house. My infrastructure, I'm not routing anything to my cluster. Inside of my cluster, I have Cloudflare D. But I have it for each namespace, so it's sitting in here. And Cloudflare D reaches out to Cloudflare and it says, hey, any traffic that you want to pass to dev.javagrunt.com, I'm going to listen for it. So I can do this across multiple clusters, and that just comes in. So there's no like IP address that's getting exposed. I don't do any port forwarding inside of my network. Inside of my cluster, I call out again, because this is part of the thing is these clusters, these Raspberry Pi devices that I'm thinking about, they are out in the field. They're out. They don't have a static IP address, right? They're connecting to not great internet. So instead of like trying to figure out where they are and which network they're connected to, they are going to call home. they're going to call out. Once they stand up, they got power, they call and say, hey, I can accept traffic here. But inside of that config, they're going to say, I'm accepting traffic for, in this case, javagrunt.com or anything.javagrunt.com. And all of that traffic always go to here. Everything goes to the gateway service. So everything that's coming in on this goes to that gateway service, whether it's Knative or Keda. That just simplifies things. And then I handle all the specific routing inside of Spring Cloud Gateway. In the case of Knative, that Spring Cloud Gateway, it can just call the address of that service inside of the cluster. So that's the only place. That's the first place where the gateway service would be using Kubernetes native routing. So let's take a look at that config and let's just do a side by side. So here we are in that gateway. In the routing, here in the routing, I say, hey, call it hello service, YouTube listener. That's the name that I'm giving it. So did I set up, so I was kind of in the middle of things where I set up discovery and I didn't deploy it. So we're in a mess here, but I know what I was doing. So my Spring Cloud Gateway, in order to route to other services that are behind it, it'll use Knative or the Kubernetes native routing. That's where they gel. But on the other side of Spring Cloud Gateway, there's nothing there. What Keda's gonna do, Keda is watching that Spring Cloud Gateway and it's looking to handle the routes. And it'll stand up the services it needs to stand up. So hopefully this makes sense. We'll get there. Thank you for joining. If you're joining, especially if you're new here, like say hi, but let me know where you're from. My mom and dad always watch, my kids sometimes watch, but it's always fun to be like, hey, yeah, I had people joining from other places. I'm in Kansas City. I'm in the middle of America, but I'd love to know where you're from. And thanks for joining. Right? Oh, I didn't need to do that. So things are going well. I'm having a good day. What we're doing here is I'm exploring, I'm playing around, but I don't have any objective. I didn't do any deep planning, so I don't really know where we're gonna go. We'll see, we'll figure it out. But if you've got questions, ask, because what I'm doing, not important. What you're doing is important. Especially if you're stuck, I wanna help you get unstuck. So, hello, welcome. So what this project is I have Raspberry Pis. I have small infrastructure. Devices like this 512 megs, or a device, this is a Jetson Nano used for AI and ML, right? It's got a nice little GPU on it, but smaller footprint they're devices that can be out, capturing weather or sampling meters or whatever it is. But I'm using Spring workloads as native images so they have a really small footprint. And I'm deploying them to these small devices. And these devices are just going to be spread out. And I'm using Kubernetes as the way of providing the same abstraction layer across all the devices. So I've got, in the home lab back there, I've got Raspberry Pis. I've got Libre Computing's Lay Potato devices, which is also ARM64. I've got some of these Jetson Nano from NVIDIA. I got some of those. I got some Atomic Pis that are actually x86, but I got these small devices, and we're taking enterprise grade, production ready, Kubernetes native Spring Boot workloads to these small devices, and we're just playing. So there's no real objective here. Today I'm just experimenting, seeing if I can do this advanced scale to zero approach with less infrastructure than what I'm currently using. So that's why we're comparing Knative as a scale to zero enabler framework versus Keda. Just two things, two different approaches to kind of this scale to zero, scale up approach. That's what we're looking at. So yes, hello from India. Harpreet, I'm happy that you're here. So here, I haven't heard of Jetson Nano. Like they've been around for a long time. I think if I look, I'll get a stamp on here of when it was created. This one, there should be a year on here somewhere. And I am not seeing it. Maybe it's on the other side. Usually they stamp like the year that it was made next to the version number. But I'm not seeing one on this at all. But I also don't have good eyesight. I could be completely wrong. Yeah, I'm not seeing a year. I think I've had this for 2 years, 3 years maybe. But yeah, when we were doing the AI/ML stuff, it was pretty popular not too long ago. I know that's in your kind of sweet spot. Let me tell you a little bit more about this project, which I think it's fun for me, right? The whole JavaGrunt.com, I'm doing everything live. One of my good friends, Lab Every Day, who is a developer advocate for networking over at AWS. He created this YouTube analysis assistant, this tool that'll go and look at your YouTube video and it'll generate some cool stuff. Like, so it goes and the AI says, oh, that video should be called this. Here's a summary of that video. Here's the description of that video. Here's some SEO tags that should be used for that video. And then also like, here's a thumbnail that goes along with that video so that people will go see. And again, my home lab it's always in flux, right? It's up and down, and I compare my home lab to the neighbor that has the old car, the old hot rod, right? During the week, it's up on blocks, the hood is up, and you know, we're kind of doing this thing. But on the weekends, I like to take it out, you know, faster on the corners. So I put this together. This was written in Python. I kind of took the same thing and did something similar over here in the YouTube service that's back here. And I used Spring AI. So Spring AI sits in this service. It calls out to OpenAI and asks those same sets, like help me. It says source main resources. We can go and see kind of the prompt that we did. Like, hey, OpenAI in this case, you're an expert content editor. Like, give me an engaging title for this video. Because look, like today, I didn't have an objective. Like there was no like plan here. But maybe we end up doing something specific. Maybe there's one topic that stands out better than the others. But just give me a title for this show when I'm done, so that if somebody wants to go and find it, they can maybe be interested. Give me some tags. I think it's supposed to actually like create a. Oh, I don't. It doesn't. It should do a summary as well. I don't see that here. But it also finds like, hey, if there's a good clip, we're all laughing. That was so funny. Like grab that clip and then we can clip it and we can put that out as like a teaser. But yeah, this is what we're doing. And we're using Spring AI to do that. So yeah, so we can do these really cool things, and we're doing it on really small infrastructure, because who's got money to pay for infrastructure, especially when we're not using it? That's why we scale to 0. So this is all kind of the big picture stuff, but we're just playing. We're going to run into some fun things along the way. But yeah, Spring AI is a cool project, cool new. It's really easy to use, and yeah, and it's part of this as well. But all the stuff that we're doing here is fun, right? And we're doing it all live. So that's where we're at. So if that's interesting, if it sounds interesting, yeah, hang out. Oh, we got a Corrupt Coder. Corrupt Coder says, hi. Trying to become a Java Spring developer here in London, and slowly became a freelancer on the side to my day job. Right now I have a few microservices that I was trying to figure out how to scale, and your implementations on this stream are speaking some ideas. That's what's up. Well, I appreciate that feedback, because yeah, here's some other things. I like to say, I don't have cloud money. I have Raspberry Pi money. So I've got these Raspberry Pi devices. Some are old, some are new. And I want to use them in the best way possible. So like today I'm working on JavaGrunt.com. and you'll see it takes a second for it to stand up, but that's okay. It's just me. Like, yeah, no big deal. This is the stuff that we've developed here. I haven't even been like updating, right? Like I should be putting more content out here and maybe links to the videos, right? But we're getting there. It's baby steps. But I have this other like redisgeek.com, right? Again, another website, but all of this stuff is just running on Raspberry Pis. I don't need a whole lot of infrastructure to do this, but I can have dozens of sites, right? Sean.dev. Again, it's taking a second for it to scale up. The gateway that's sitting in front is actually scaling up, so that's why it's taking a little bit. But yeah, all this stuff is sitting on minimal hardware. One of the other pieces, if you've been watching the stream, is my kids. My children will never deploy active passive. My children will never deploy active passive. I like to think about things as being active. So where I have javagrunt.com running on not just one cluster, I can run it on 2 different clusters, and they can be single node clusters, right? I can do the same thing. I can get active-ish. I can get HA-ish with really, really small footprints. In my house, I've got 2 different network providers, right? So if one of them goes bad, the traffic will just get routed to the other one. It's that easy. So I got some things in place, and we'll go into it more, as you tune in. And there's other stuff. So we go over here to YouTube, and this is where the YouTube service comes in. You'll see in these videos, you can tell which videos got the AI treatment, and you can also tell which ones didn't. Right? Like, nobody wants to look at my ugly mug. Sometimes I just stream, right? If it's got the hashtag JavaGrunt in front, that means, hey, service, when you get it, that one hasn't been taken through the AI workflow yet. So all these ones that don't have the cool thumbnail and stuff, those are ones that still need to be done. And we'll do those as a batch later on. But here we are. So we got stuff in place. Nothing's perfect, but all my code is out there. Like if you want to see where I'm at, PRs are welcome. If you want to help out, Harpreet, for example, who's here, Harpreet has been a wonderful help, and that's what we do. That's what we do. So my schedule's a little hairy. I don't always give a whole lot of heads up to when I'm going to be on, but I'm working on that. I want to be on. My goal was to be on, a certain number of hours over the year. And that was like, hey, if I can get 10 hours a week for 50 weeks, that's 500 hours. I want to stream for 500 hours. And my streams, I don't have any like goals of what I want to build or what I want to do. My goal is I just want to be here. I'll think out loud. I'll experiment and build things because that's what I do. But I will always stop and take questions. I don't always have the answers. But I don't have anything I'm trying to get to production. I make time for the stuff that's got to get done. I do that as well. But here we're going to explore, we're going to experiment, and we'll try to learn together. So yeah, hopefully Corrupt Coder, thanks for joining. And what I'm doing is fun. Feel free to copy Jonas, who shows up, this pattern, all of my stuff, the way that I'm doing things. I'm trying to do everything in public. So if you want to see how I'm deploying my infrastructure, all of that is here in this repository as well. Sometimes I do make mistakes, try to keep me honest. There may be some secrets out there. I try not to do that. I try to also show like how to keep your secrets secret and things like that. But I want to be as public as possible. I want to have this code, as much of it as possible, that you can take and use. So if there's anything else I can do that, I can be more transparent or provide more, let me know. We'll have fun. So we got some more. Hi, I want to start learning CS. What would you suggest to the beginners? That is a great question. My favorite place to start, Spring.
spring.academy. This is my favorite place to start. You can see I'm doing things as well, but there's a bunch of free courses out here, free guides that you go take advantage of. And I don't remember all the stuff. I don't put all of these things in my head. I still have to go and copy paste from other examples, and I find myself copying from these guides, because I have been for the last 10 years. But there's also some courses. There's some free courses. There's some paid courses. But this is the number one place to start. Yesterday on Spring Office Hours, this is the show, Spring Office Hours, that I do with Dan Vega. Yesterday, we talked about resources for learning Spring. And I believe we have a GitHub.com Spring Office Hours where we set up a repository, Resources Learning Spring. And here is a bunch of resources that we talked about yesterday. You can catch the episode here. You can go download it. It's on YouTube. Or if you like a podcast, we have the podcast episode here. But a bunch of resources that we talked about for learning Spring. Podcasts, right? Depending on how you like to learn. Audiobooks, right? Some of these are audiobooks. But here's a bunch of great resources, blogs, events, GitHub repos for you to learn from. But where to start? Spring.academy. Spring.academy. Start with the free stuff. Make sure you like it. And then the cool thing is if you go there and you got questions like, hi, I'm Deshaun. I'm a Spring Developer Advocate. So I work next to the Spring team. They're virtually right over there. They're right on the other side of that box, virtually. So if you got questions, I'm here to help. You'll see some content from me here real soon. So I'm totally biased, but here's another set of resources for you to go and learn about all things Spring, Java. I'm a big fan. Let me throw that up there. Throw it in the chat. Maybe that helps. MetaDev Girl says, I'm literally about to set this up for my account. I was getting ready to create a project like this for myself. I'm checking out Lab every day for the Python version. Absolutely. Do it. Take it. Give him a shout out. He's amazing. He's Lab every day over on YouTube. YouTube.com/@lab every day. He's got 52,000 subscribers. He's got a ton of videos and he just keeps on getting better. So I'm lucky. I've known him for like 6 years now. And he just keeps on getting better. So definitely check him out. Duan at Lab every day. I'm a big fan. And yeah, and check out his repository over here. I'll put that in the chat as well. As it's fun. It's easy to set up. And his solution is like drop dead simple to set up. So yeah, take it for a spin. And of course, share back when you get it done, because we want to hear about it. So let's close up some stuff and let's get back to where we were. I don't remember what I was talking about. We had some songs I put up. So here's my Flux repo, GitOps. So everything gets committed so then I can roll back and I can do cool things. But then you also get to see, we're never guessing at what's been deployed. I put that on both. Corrupt Coder says, how I got started with Java and Spring was going to Udemy and follow a structured course. But I guess nowadays you may find more useful stuff on Code Academy or similar sites. Yeah. The thing that I say is, especially for Spring, I want you to be as close to the source as possible. That's why I say Spring Academy, but I also point you towards like my teammates, like Cora. Cora is typeshare.co/CIBRKL. EID. Right here, Cora, awesome content. And then Dan, we already talked about YouTube. Dan Vega, high quality, all the cool stuff, like deep, good content. He's my teammate.
close to the spring team. Like we both sit right on the other side of the virtual wall from the spring team. And then also Coffee Software, Josh Long. You, and if you got money and that's the way you like your course, like framework set up, fantastic. Go. There's different routes for everybody. I try to learn passively a lot. Like we talked, like I'll put up Metadevro, I'll put up Josh, I'll put up Dan's content, I'll put up Cora, and I will listen to their sessions while I'm doing work. There was a point in my life where Josh and the spring team, I had a playlist that I would just watch on repeat. Again, watching the same video, 2 or 3 times a day, because I had just this playlist I put on repeat, and I would even like as I'm going to sleep, I put up on the big screen. It was back when I was at a startup, and I was just trying to make sure I was absorbing all of it as much as I could. And I kind of do the same thing now. I'll put it onto another screen and I'll listen. But that's what we were talking about yesterday, right? On like the YouTube stuff. Like Jitter TED is one that I do a lot of. But Twitch, I spend a lot of time on Twitch. I like live coding. I like to hear people working through issues. So that's how I learn, right? And I'm still learning. I don't really know anything, but I like working through things. I know I have some experience. I've been doing this for a while. So that's, again, we all have different routes, but I want you to be as close to the spring team as possible. So I'm always going to point you towards content that's close to the spring team, near the tip, right? So yeah, but there's tons of options. When I got into this role, I've been in this role for 807 days. 807 days. I've been in this role. When I got into this role, I was concerned. I was like, hey, well, Josh just did a video on data sources. I can't do a video on data sources because he just did one. Why would anybody use mine? And it took a while for me to understand. And I want you to understand this too. One of the best ways to learn something is to present it. And I'm confident of this, no matter how you learn. One of the best ways to learn something is to turn around and present it. Do it live, do it publicly, learn in public, or create content, create a blog. Because that's when you really understand it. You can learn it to like get through and learn it for yourself, stealing from Dan Vega. Then you learn it again as you prepare to teach it. And that is the best way to make it sticky. So it stays in, right? Just working through a problem once. Yeah, you figured out how to get through that problem. But if you turn it into a blog, or you turn it into a GitHub repo, a public repo, or you turn it into a 15-minute demo, then it becomes sticky. Even a 15-minute demo will make things stickier for you. I'm confident of it. So when I'm doing stuff, when I create content, I try to do it public. I try to do it live because I want you to be able to do it. But then also when I make demos, I want to share this. And maybe some of you are here, but sometimes I like to challenge people. I put this demo out here. I put another demo out here. I put these demos out here that you can just go and run, but then I've got a video of me delivering that demo so you can see how I do it. But one of the things that I'll challenge you, and if you would like to do this, I would love to like bring you here and do it here with me, and I'll give you feedback. I want to see how you deliver this demo, but I put this MIT license on it. That means take it, it's yours. If you've got a group at work, you want to take this code, go run this demo. You are allowed to use these demos. Like use it. And I try to do this by putting that MIT license. That means go do it. You don't have to give me credit. You don't have to do it. I would love to find a YouTube video where you are using this demo or your fork of it and you are delivering it. I would love to see that. That would bring me so much joy. So I put some of these pre-baked canned demos out here for you to use. And I also put a video of me delivering it. But I want you to do it in your flavor. Put your spice on it. Put your frosting on it and deliver it the way that you would deliver it. Deliver it the way it makes sense to you, how you would teach somebody on your team, and make it make sense. Like give it the context, because I speak to audiences all over. but I can't reach everybody, right? I've been talking about this open rewrite for years, right? And I can't reach everybody. There's still a lot of people that don't know about open rewrite and the value of upgrading to Spring Boot 3.2.3. So I'm encouraging you, and I'll challenge you, and I would love to see somebody else, you, deliver this video, because not only is it going to make it sticky, learning something and then teaching it, that's going to make it sticky, but then also it gives me an opportunity to like shine light on somebody else in the community. It's like, hey, like that's a good demo, but you don't have to do this demo. I just want to see you presenting. And then I'll encourage you, like once you've done that, I'll encourage you to deliver it to your team at work, or your local Java user group, or your Spring user group. I'm here to help. I'm going to advocate for you. So if you've got cool stuff and you want to learn something, again, if you're presenting it, you're going to learn it better. And it's not too bad for like your resume. If you're looking for a job and you're able to present technical topics really well, and I'll help you for sure, it's going to help, I think. So yeah, I'm going to try to catch up here on the comments. Scroll down. Good. So like, yeah, I would love it. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to invite you to take one of these demos out for a spin and present it, or come on, send me a note. I'll bring you on here and we'll present it together. We'll get some live feedback. But either way, like we can do it private, public, either way. I like learning in public. So here we are. Let's keep on going. That was a fun conversation. I'm going to go check. I get my beeps in my ear, and I got some beeps. So I want to go check and make sure I'm not leaving any of my teammates stranded. Oh, look at this. This just in. The DevNexus schedule has just been released. So let's go take a look at that. DevNexus, for me, is one of my big three. It's the trifecta. Tuesday, April 9th, there are workshops. It's at devnexus.com. DevNexus is the largest and I think longest running Java focused conference in North America. So it's coming up. So I'm going to just take a look at these workshops. Again, if you've got questions, ask. We're here. Main thing is I'm trying to make myself available if you've got questions. Maybe give you a little tidbit here. DevNexus is one of my 3 favorite conferences in the world. In no particular order, DevNexus, Spring One, and Spring I/O. These are the conferences that you want to go to. These are the ones, if I could say, hey, pick 3, these are the 3 that I'm going to encourage you to go to. There's tons more, but these are mine. There's tons more, but these are my top 3 for you, for everybody. So architectural design patterns, deep dive. Daniel Hinojosa in this day-long workshop. You can all the standard architectural design patterns. For each design pattern, we're going to Docker compose files that demonstrate the strengths and weaknesses. Ooh. So you have firsthand, full-on, highly engaged, full-day workshop to give you the knowledge you need to make critical architectural choices. Well, this is like, come on. Like, who wouldn't love getting a day of working through all of these awesome patterns in a workshop? Hands-on, like, you guys, new folks, new developers, you don't know how good you got it. There's so much access to so many amazing people. So let's keep on going. This is great. 20 years experience. This is so cool. Right, plus a fan of Legos. Like, come on. Who knows what kind of football that is? Is that American football or soccer? We'll see. But yeah, this is cool. So that's cool. I'm pretty sure I know this name, but I'm going to go and I'm going to make sure that I'm following. Anybody that's presenting at DevNexus is worth a follow. So I'm going to search Daniel Hinojosa. And we follow each other. That's so cool. All right. Let's see. Oh, Venkat
I think if you've been doing Java or you've ever been to a conference, you've probably heard of Venkat Subramanian. Java was a language that dragged along at snail's pace. Thankfully, that's no longer the case. In the recent years, the pace of development has accelerated both in language features and in the JDK improvements. Come along to dive into some of the recent changes of Java that are both fun and powerful to use to learn how you can benefit from these. And we'll also discuss where the language is heading in the near future. Core Java. Like, awesome. Jonathan Schneider, fundamentals of migrating. Look at this, open rewrite. Like, how cool is that? Fundamentals of migration engineering. I like that phrase, migration engineering with open rewrite. How adaptable is your technology stack? So remember, this is open rewrite. It's one of my favorite things. I put that demo out here, didn't I? I just had it. No. It was out there, github.com. Hello. Open, here we go. Like, open rewrite is a part of my jam. So I'm excited about this. Both Jonathan and Olga, I'm big fans. I used to work with them. Jonathan used to be on the Spring team. I worked with Olga over at Pivotal. Yeah. So I'm fans of both of them. They're doing great things over at Modern. This topic right here, where, hey, how adaptable is your technology stack to changes in business requirements, technological advancements, and the availability of new and better tools. Like this right here, avoiding vendor lock-in. Like if you've figured out how to move things, if you've figured out how you can write code to migrate from A to B, you will never be locked in. If you can establish this type of muscle. So I'm just a fan, right? I've thought about this a lot. Demonstrate how to write custom recipes using open rewrite, and then automate code changes for your teams, right? That's the key. Do it so it's continuous and automated. You saw earlier where I had my Spring cubed. I took whatever version I'm on and I run this command, but that command could be in my pipeline just as easy in order to keep me on the latest and greatest. And it should be. You should have something like that in your pipeline. You should have some way. Dependabot does a little bit. It'll bump a version, but sometimes, in the near future, when there's breaking changes between versions, they will be delivered not just as a, hey, bump this dependency version, but here's a recipe, an open rewrite recipe that will do the migration for you. It will change your code in order to work through all of those breaking changes. And people that are delivering software will be delivering recipes along with their breaking changes, because that's your proof. That's like your test that you can go from version 1 to version 2 and adapt to those breaking changes. And that recipe is going to make it easier for the audience, the consumers of whatever library or framework you're using. It's going to make it easier for them to move forward. And that's going to be the future of software, because the way that we're going to measure software going forward is how easy is it to maintain, right? How easy is it to start? How easy is it to adapt? How easy is it to migrate? How easy is it to maintain? You should be able to jump into a project, get a lay of the land, run it, validate tests. But the stuff I go to production with today, right? We looked at the PALM file. There's a new Java version that comes out every 6 months. So in May, right? And we can go validate this calendar. I can look ahead to May and I can see Spring Boot 3.3 is going to be out. Now, do I want to, in 2023, there was only 4 weeks in 2023 where there wasn't a release, right? If I'm at enterprise scale, I'm probably using a lot of these projects. In 2023, there was only 4 weeks. So we just saw one, the holidays. There's another one, first week in October, there's 2.
Here's another one in September. There's 3. And the other one, I believe, is in April, because I've done this a few times. But look, there's at least one release every single week. April's the other one. There's 4 weeks in the entire year where there wasn't a release. So do you want to be focused and worried about updating and patching all those, or do you want to have some automation in place? You want to have some automation in place. That's how we're going to move forward. So the stuff that I take to production today, I would like automation in place that is just patching and applying, not just bumping versions, but applying recipes so that as a property changes or if there is a breaking change, I just want those things to be applied. An open rewrite makes that possible. There's tons of options, right? I work with customers. I work with orgs, enterprises that are building the automation in order to do that for small bits and pieces. And typically they've got, Dependabots and all that kind of stuff as well. But the future of software is the stuff that we take to production today on March 5th, 2024. The way that I want to live is June 5th, 2024. I want my software to be on Spring Boot 3.3. I want to be on Java 22, right? Java 22. I'm on Java 21 today, but Java 22 is going to be out later this month. I want to say on the 18th. It's either the 18th or the 22nd. We should have a party though. But I want to get all the benefit of being on the latest and greatest, all the security, right? All the fixes, all the CVs. I want to stay on the latest and greatest. I'm going to trust them, the providers, the Spring team, right? The Linux team. I'm going to trust them to be putting out meaningful, valuable releases. I want to stay on the front. I want you to stay on the front. Especially if I'm betting my business on things. I don't want to waste any money. I want to be on the front. So this is where we are. This is what we're trying to do. And this, again, what a wonderful option to have at DevNexus. So let's keep going. There's a Spring Boot 3 workshop. Oh, this is going to be like, Jonathan is absolutely amazing. Scott is absolutely amazing. I've been lucky that I get to be on calls with Scott. I get to read the stuff that's going on our Slack and stuff. But I think it's been a long time since I've seen Scott present. I don't think I've seen Scott present since I've been on the team, 807 days. But he's just one of those people that has helped me in my career. Like, I see his commits, I see the stuff that he does. So like for a long time before I was on the team, like all the Spring team, Jonathan, like all the Spring team, they were just like, wow, like, thank you so much for doing all this work. And I felt like I knew them. So then it was really awkward when I was like, Scott, hey, can I get a hug? Oh, wait. Oh, sorry. I'm Deshaun. You helped me through a couple of issues back in the day. Sorry about the hug thing. Because I felt like I knew them, right? I was watching their YouTube videos. I had the playlist on repeat. So I've had a lot of really awkward first time introductions to a lot of the Spring team. It happens. I'm a fan. But this ought to be great. Gain new supersonic subatomic superpowers with Quarkus 3. That sounds interesting. Building RESTful web services with Jakarta EE. Man, we got Apache Pinot real time. I wonder if this would be difficult. So this one would be awesome. Like for me, this is what I'm thinking. Like I'm thinking that I want to go, but I'm a presenter. But I want to go to these workshops. I want to go to this workshop and this one. Apache Pinot Real-Time Analytics Workshop. Ultimate one-day Java workshop deploying AI-enhanced applications with security and scalability. That sounds awesome too. But I got my head wrapped around that. Like, this is this is where I'm at. There's 3 here that like, oh no, there's 4, right? I feel like I got a lot of the Spring Boot 3 stuff that I need. I feel like I can go to production with a little bit of confidence with Spring Boot 3. The thing is, I want to see these guys present. I watch Josh and Dan and Cora. I watch them present. A lot of times they're presenting the same topic that I've seen, but every time that they deliver it again, there's always like new bits that are added in, right? Our job, right, is to keep up with what's going on. And when we learn something from you, or from some other org, we want to make sure that everybody gets the benefit, whether it's a good thing or a thing to avoid. We want to make sure that you get the benefit. So this is cool. But this schedule for DevNexus just got released, and I know that I could probably only do one of these, and there's just some hard decisions here because I love watching these guys present. I would love to watch these guys present. I always get leveled up here, right? And Venkat, like who doesn't want to watch Venkat? Like you bring popcorn and candy to watch Venkat. This one is really interesting to me. I just want to see like how he's delivering it, you know? And then this one, right? RESTful service, I'm feeling pretty comfortable with that. And this could be interesting, but it's not really where I need a level up. So this is what I'm looking at. But here we go, registration. Women in Tech Breakfast sounds awesome. Welcome. We'll make software architecture so intractable. Neil Ford. LLMs in Spring. Building smart chat application with Redis. I mean, that's going to be awesome. So who am I going to go see at 10? Well, I hope. Oh, so look at this. Look at this. Look at all the hard decisions. There's no way. How does anybody like make a schedule when you got Brian going at the same time as Spencer and Rob Winch? Like, how are we supposed to make a decision like that? I'm giving it away. I got some decisions to make. Nate Shuda. Man, look at all this. Billy to Java 22 and beyond. Like great timing, right? So Java 22 is going to be out. Let's like learn all the new things from the Java team. This would be good. I think I know the main punchline here. But man, what? Oh. Wow. Oh my goodness. I think it's easy to see why this is in my trifecta of where I'm going to focus. So good. Look at all this good stuff. Todd Libby. I think I've seen some of this conversation. The fun thing is like, if we're paying attention, we can get a lot of the conversation beforehand. Oh, this is going to be awesome. Oh, I want to see that. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome. Man, there's so much good stuff here. Yes. Oh, wait, so this makes it easier. I want to see this. Right. I don't think there's... That's what I'm going to go to there. Here we go. Whoever that guy is. Let's see who I'm competing against. Oh my goodness, there's nobody's going to be in mine. Oh well, you can't win them all. When I'm competing against Chris, Todd, this is Elena. this Trisha Geek. Like, how am I? Nobody's gonna come to this session, but that's okay. Anybody that does come, they're gonna be VIPs because I'm gonna treat them that way. I'm really excited about that. This is gonna be good. I've been a Matt Rabel fan for like over 20 years. This awesome. Oh boy. Okay, so the cool thing is the people that are doing the workshops are also doing sessions, which is fantastic. Fantastic. So there's a lot of stuff. Jeremy's gonna be there. This is so good. What a stacked lineup. And we're not even done. Like, look at this. Jonathan, Craig. Man, what we're not even done. Like, so cool. The DevNexus schedule is stacked. Like, excited about that. Absolutely excited about that. Oofta. But I think it's still early access. Get your tickets. Again, I hope I didn't miss any questions as I was scrolling through that. Let's get back to where we were going. Like, I want to be on the front end. I want to be doing these things. I want to stay on the latest and greatest. I've got a lot of friends, and I'm awkward sometimes. But let's keep going. Nope. Let me check, make sure that I'm not missing anything at the real job, and we're good. All right. So we shared this. Cora's stuff. Here's the example. This is what I want you to take for a spin. I'd love to see you deliver it. Did I put that? I think I put it in the chat already. Here's a fun demo. I'm gonna put in the chat. We don't need to see it here. We've done it a lot. Hey, that's okay. You make the next one. You'll make the next one. A little bird told me that there's going to be a new Cloud Foundry show coming soon. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. And I'll make sure that you get an invite. I'll make sure it's on your calendar. That's what we do, right? Things are happening. But let's go back and let's see if we can deploy some stuff. We got lots of these projects delivered on Raspberry Pis, and it doesn't take much. Like, we can do interesting things. And let's just see. Let's just keep on going with this. I upgraded, changed my version here. I did Liberica 21. That works. And then inside of the build pack, we're using Liberica, so we'll have some consistency. Oh, okay. Hey, DevOps Days KC is right around the corner. Another one of my favorites. KCDC is right after that in the Kansas City area. So absolutely, lots of stuff coming, and I'm gonna get leveled up. But in order to do that, I've got to deliver some stuff. I got to learn. I gotta bring something to the game. So I think this is gonna be all right. So I only want to make that one change. Let's see if this works. Git status. Git add dot. Remember, the way that I'm delivering this, switch to Liberica. When I do this commit, it doesn't actually do anything. The way that I release things is I use a version. I use a tag. So it's only going to do stuff on a tag. So let's do this. Is that right? Because it won't build. Was I just building these locally? I want to go check real quick. I think I was going like this. And I think I might have just been building and pushing.
here. No, latest. All right, these are the containers that I did a month ago. So yeah, I think we're in good shape. So if we do git tag, we'll see that our latest tag is 22. So now we're going to do git tag v 0.0.23 git push origin v 0.0.23. So now that I've done a tag, now my stuff, my CI/CD stuff is going to kick off. Not that one. We were making updates to the Spring Cloud Gateway, the gateway service. So I should see an action over here running. Cool. That was the latest commit, but there's a couple of commits in between there. So that's going. But then also over on Circle CI, let's log in. I'm old school. And over here in Java.com, we should see that this is running. And the way that this is working, okay, this is my default, is I'm building native images, meaning optimized for ARM64 and Linux. And the way that this works in my pipe, I build an image that is optimized for ARM64, and then I build one that's optimized for AMD 64. Right? I have these being built inside of GitHub and inside of Circle CI. And then once I've got those images, right over here, once I've got those images, I push them up. Here's the ARM64 one. Look at this number 0B32. I push that up. Here's the x86 one, 14291. And then I glue them together. I take both of those images and I do a manifest. I glue them together. So you can see here, 14291. That's just this one. That's the x86 version. And then this is the ARM64 version. So I take these two images, I glue them together inside of this tag. So when you ask for this tag, if you're on x86, you're gonna get this version. If you grab this tag and you're on ARM64, you'll get this version. That's something that's been built into Docker for a long time. So, good question. How do I get a miniature version of your infrastructure set up on my local machine up and running? I have given you instructions over here. Not the K3D. If you've got Docker installed, and we can do this. Let's do it on another laptop that doesn't have anything. And let's just do that together. All right. So give me one sec. We'll do that real quick. As like, hey, you want to have Kubernetes running, and you want to be able to play around with native images. We're gonna do another ARM64. It's got enough battery. We can just do this.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll help you out.
Something's going on here. They got a video playing on the back here. Sorry about that.
The audio's okay.
Oops. Stop. There we go. So we're going to do this. I'm going to turn on this one. I'm going to connect it to the network. And then we'll get set up on this computer and we'll walk through exactly what you need to do. So first thing you have to do is you got to get Docker running. So that I'm not going to walk through installing Docker. You've got to get Docker ready. So you do that while I bring this computer online. And we'll do this together. Docker, I have Docker running? I got to get Docker running. All right, so now I've got Docker running. I like to be on the latest and greatest, so I'm gonna go ahead and say, hey, download that update. It's ready to install. Go ahead and restart that update. So I'm getting the latest version of Docker set up on this other laptop, and then we'll connect to it over the terminal, and we should be able to see everything. And I'm also standing up, putting on my VPN. I use Tailscale.
You won't need this if you're just doing it on your laptop, but this is how we're gonna connect from my stream, my daily driver, my juice box. We're going to connect to this laptop over a VPN. All right, so Docker has been updated onto the latest and greatest version, and my tail scale is almost connected. Tail scale is connected. So now, on this box, I don't know what this is, but we're gonna just set this laptop. We'll set it over here. Laptop. This is the Kaiju box. It's running. It's not plugged in, so it's just battery. Hopefully it'll stay. But let's walk through what that looks like and how to do it. So just Docker, because we're going to use K3D. All right, just Docker. So you get Docker installed, and this is what I do. You can use K3S, I guess, where if you don't want Docker, you install K3S. But by using Docker and K3D, I can do it on. I can have the same kind of developer experience on my x86, on that box, on the gaming machine over there. I can have a consistent abstraction layer. If you do the K3S, I use K3S on the infrastructure. I don't need Docker to then install K3S when I'm doing it for my home lab. But for development, for the developers out there, this is what we'll do. Docker. Right? I need Docker when I'm developing anyways, because I want to build my images. I got to do the manifest creation. I want to do that. So I need Docker anyways. On those boxes that are running JavaGrunt.com, I don't need Docker. I need Kubernetes. So I just install K3S there. But here, when I need Docker as well, I use K3D. So let's go over to that box, hopefully. Good. So now we're on that laptop. And let's, do we have kubectx? So I don't have kubectx. This is a tool that I like to use. Let's do that. Let's look for kubectx. This allows me to switch contexts. And here it is. I don't think you can get it with Homebrew. I think you just have to download the binary, install. Oh, yeah, you can with Homebrew. Brew install kubectx. Let's do that real quick. So I'm on a Mac. What are you on? What machine are you on? Because we can do this over there too, I think. So here I'm going to do this on my Mac. And this is an ARM64 Mac. It's an M1. I'm going to install kubectx. And while I'm at it, I'm going to do brew update, because I like to be on the latest versions. Right? If there's a patch out there, I want it. I'm going to do brew upgrade. Like, give me all the new stuff. Right? Like, what if there's a CVE in one of those? Like, I'm not reading the CVE list. I want something updated. If things break, then I can always go roll back. But by default, I'm doing this all the time. You're on Ubuntu. Okay. So it'll be similar. I guess I can do this on Ubuntu too. That's just for consistency, right? I think I can. I'm trying to think if I've got a machine that I can do this on Ubuntu, and I might not at the moment. Again, my home lab is up and down. Jonas is here. Jonas has gone through this, using the same kind of infrastructure, set up this GitOps Flux CD. Let's go back to Kaiju. And what we're doing, Jonas, I'm glad you're here, is we are going to, hello. Oh, so my screen went blank. So I think I have to plug this machine in. So when the screen cut off, it stopped working. So let's see if I got a power cord for it somewhere. I should have one. Bear with me, I apologize. But what we're trying to do is get you set up, right? Your stuff is the most important today. I would just like to find my power adapter for this machine. I had two. I was working remote or the weekend. So I'm gonna see if I got enough juice over here to keep this guy on. All right, like I had plenty of juice. And now maybe that it's plugged in, it'll stay on. And then look at that, just plug it in and then we're in. So this is a new laptop that does not have a CLUB context, CLUB CTX, right? Doesn't have anything, there's no Kubernetes context installed. Now we're gonna install K3D. So let's look for K3D. Here we go. And what is K3D? We're gonna install K3S on top of Docker. So install, I want a homebrew. Brew install K3D. But here's where you are. You're going to install K3D on Ubuntu. You can do it as the curl pipe bash approach. But I'm going to do it this way. So let's get K3D installed. So I've got K3D going, and then you let me know when you're ready. K3D.io is where I went. I'll put that up. So I have Docker, and I install K3S on top of Docker using K3D. And this is my normal dev machine, my development. And you know what I just thought of? I don't know if I've done this, but I want to know if I can do Karifi on K3D. Look at this. That might be worth taking a look at, but we'll come back to that. This is just another. This is awesome. Oh, so I helped Karin Bear set this up. So this is awesome. Hello, bookmark. We're gonna go through that same setup. Done and done. We'll do that later on. But right now, you, Maelstrom, let me know when you get K3D set up, and then we'll go. So check. We're going to come back to that. Do this. We're going to hide that so we get some more room. Our image has been deployed. So we should have over here at our hub, I should have a version 23 now. There's the latest 4 minutes ago. I have a 23. And in order to deploy that 23 to my local K3D, right, this is not like ideal. I'm literally just kind of like adding this dev environment step. But nobody wants to have to like cut a release in order to deploy. You want to have a local registry that you can use, or you want to use, what's the tool? Why can't I think of it? I want to use something that makes it so that when I build locally, those changes are automatically deployed to my development namespace, and I can't think of the name of the tool. Put it over here, get it closed. Tilt. That's what I want. So that when I do a build locally, it just takes the bytecode and it updates the running pod. That's what tilt allows you to do. We'll get into that. But we have our new version, and the way that I'm doing it now is over here in Flux. Nope, over here in Java Grunt. The way I'm going to deploy that 0023 is I'm going to go here to my customization YAML, and I can do it here, except I want to do it on the Keta branch. This is my dev branch. And I want to edit the service gateway YAML. So inside of Flux, I want to edit the service gateway YAML, and I want to change the version here. So I can literally do it here. I don't have to pull up an IDE. And we can look and we see like, hey, we've got some configuration here for the service. I still have my endpoint info. Oh, it was trying to connect to Redis Cloud and it couldn't. What was I doing there? Anyways, I took off Redis. We're in good shape. This is going to deploy. Let's commit our changes. All we did was upgrade. We want version 23. Sometimes I hate myself. I go back and forth on monolith versus microservices. Any suggestions? Why not both? Like, why not? Let's explore both. So before you got here, I went over to devnexus.com/schedule and I said, hey, I'm doing a talk about using Spring Modulith. And we're going to do some of the comparison. So my plan is for this site, just like I do here live for JavaGrunt.com, I have this other site, redisgeek.com. And I'm going to kind of rinse and repeat some of the stuff that we're doing over here on JavaGrunt.com. I'm just going to do a rebuild, and we're going to do a Modulith over on redisgeek.com so that we can do like a side by side. Hopefully we'll check the same boxes on both, but we'll deploy one as a monolith, Modulith, and we'll deploy one as microservices. And we'll just do we'll be able to look at both of them. So yeah, like on one hand, I want microservices because I have a cluster of pies, right? You can still deploy a Modulith to pies. I can still build native images from a Modulith. I can still build these small footprint applications from a Modulith. So I can have scale. And I can even scale them to 0 when they're native images. So we're gonna do side by side. We're gonna do some of the same stuff. I'm still gonna be deploying my Modulith to Raspberry Pis because I don't have cloud money. Right, so that's what we're doing now. So, but then I only need one Pi. Well, right, like part of having 5 is you can have other things. Like what about your backing services? Right? You could have one Pi that's running your LLM. You could have another Pi that's running your Redis instance, right? You got stuff. You have options. But having 5, right? You could have multiple instances. If you've got 2 instances running and you're scaling it properly, let's just say you're doing 2 and you want to have 0 downtime, you can use something like Knative, and you can do a canary deploy. So, hey, here's version 1, but we're going to upgrade this one to version 2. Now we got version 2, and then we do this one to version 2. So you always have something accepting traffic as you're doing your upgrades. If you just got one Pi and one version, you can't do that. We learned that. So here we have some options. But yeah, your cluster's great. There's a lot of clusters that are like it, but that one's yours. We'll have fun. Good morning. Good morning. Happy to see you. If you're new here, please let us know where you're from. My kids like to watch the streams. I like to tell my kids, like, hey, I had somebody from India. Harpreet is here, or was here earlier. Yeah, let us know where you're from. And mom and dad watch, right? So hi, mom, dad, I love you. I can always come and stream. I can always do this because I know, even if nobody shows up, my mom and dad will show up and they'll listen and they'll watch the whole thing. So I have that. I'm lucky that I have that I know mom and dad. They might not always be live. Right now they're on vacation, but I know that they will not miss an episode. They will always watch. I love you, mom and dad. I did a thing about hosting your cat's blog on cheap mini PCs that you can pick up on Amazon Marketplace if you're not interested in ARM64. This is awesome. And I think you were gonna like raffle it off or something? Like, that's cool. Right, that's effectively what we're doing here. I'm using Spring, I'm using Raspberry Pis and lay potatoes and atomic pies, and we got banana pies and mango pies. We got all sorts of pie. Still need to look at Redis, never used it, so you know where to go. We're gonna get into that, and yeah, and we'll have fun. We'll have fun. Welcome from Portland, Oregon. I'm so glad that you're here. It is. Good morning. Still Phoenix kids. Yep, my kids definitely know. For those of you that don't know, Anitux, again, just we have kind of like a overlapping communities, but streaming wise, I'm a big fan. Me and my son, like, when we were staying up late, we'd watch his streams together, and yeah, he'd ask like, hey, can we go watch? Because he's got really interesting streams, high production quality, great content. But then also we had like road trips. Me and my son had a road trip, and I don't know if we were streaming or Anitux was streaming. Anitux was streaming on one way, and then we were streaming on the other way. But yeah, we've got a lot of fun stuff over the years. My parents are not programmers, but I am still I'll try to say this without crying. I'm still trying to convince myself that the sacrifices that my parents made for me were worth it. My parents pushed me. They gave me all the help I needed. So yeah, I'm still trying to make my parents proud. And they're by far my biggest fans. K3D, got it. All right, so let's just jump back. I'm awful at multitasking, but we're gonna try it. So I'm over here on Kaiju. I put the instructions for what to do, to how to set up this. We don't need to delete the cluster, so we're just gonna create a cluster. And I'm saying disable traffic. I want the smaller footprint, so I don't need traffic installed, because either I'm deploying Knative serving or I'm deploying Cloudflare D, or both. So my traffic layer is going to be okay. But this is my setup. I'm going to just change this juice to Kaiju on this box. Or just kidding. I'll delete it. I didn't want it to hit enter. But yeah, eventually, yeah, there's going to be a giveaway. Hey, Jonas, thanks for stopping in. I appreciate you. I don't know. I'm not going to be on for much longer because I got another thing. But I might be on for another hour at max. I got another thing coming up. But I'll be on for at least half hour. So yeah, thanks. Yeah, mom and dad, big fans. Yep, finally got all the parts to get my RadXA RockPi 5. RockPi 5 set up as a replacement for my Orange Pi 5 Plus. Awesome. Hearts. Sorry, RockPi 5A. I'm on 3 to 5 today, 4 to 6 your time, Java Grunt. Let's go. I'm going to go ahead and put this 4 to 6 my time. I have a planning meeting, but I'm going to put this on my calendar. 4 to 6. I'm just going to put it out there. Anitux. Live stream. Put it on my calendar. Because I can enjoy your stream while I'm going for a walk with the kids or going for a jog with the kids. And I can also enjoy it on my way to the DevOps Days KC planning meeting. So here we are. Thank you for that. Always fun. Always fun. So here we are. I made this cluster. Maelstrom, I want you to do the same thing, but I'm going to delete this cluster. I'm going to name it right. K3D cluster delete juice. And then I'm going to redo it again with the right name. That's it. I'm just going to name it differently. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to replace juice with Kaiju, just so I can keep my sanity. And that won't take long because the images have already been downloaded. and then we'll take a look. So here, kubectx, there we're active on this one, and then I go into K9s, and let's just see what we got. Whoop. Oh, I didn't install K9s. Opa, K9s. I think K9s can be installed with Homebrew. Here we go. Copy. Let me get my K9s up. I get the broke part. In my house, we don't say like, we're not broke. Like I got lights and stuff. We're broke. It's like bougie broke. Oh, there's my beeps for my stuff. Oh, this would be awesome. I just got a note that one of my friends is thinking about going to Dead Nexus. So I got to make sure to hook that up. There we go. Okay. So here, I've installed K9s, and we're looking at this context, this K3D setup, K3D Kaiju that I just set up. You've got yours. And I'm using K9s as like a visual way of going in and looking and seeing what is on that cluster. So right now, I don't see anything. Why? Well, because I'm not looking at all the namespaces. So up here, I'm gonna hit 0 so I can see all the namespaces. And then there we see Kube system. So this is all that's running. So light-ish, right? 35, 42 megs is what we're running right now. Not bad, right? 42 megs, right? I can fit that on a Raspberry Pi, right? We have 512 megs to work with here, right? And I think 42 megs will fit on here. I know it will. We've done it before. So now I've got Kubernetes. I just have Kubernetes. All right, now what I do is I go over here to Flux. Oh, not that one. I want to go over here to Flux Control. This is where I control all of my clusters, all right? Even my dev clusters, right? I want everything to be GitOps driven. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a cluster. I'm going to do this on my laptop or on my Juicebox. So I'm going to open up a new terminal, new window, new tab. And we're going to go into that repo on Deshaun Cloud, Flux Control. Let's do git pull. Let's make sure that we're on the latest and greatest. So we're on the latest and greatest, and we're going to add a cluster. We're going to add this Kaiju cluster. So you may or may not have a Flux Control, but you don't have to do this part. You can do. I've got multiple clusters, and I'm trying to do multi-tenancy. So I got things set up where each tenant has their configs. But this is how I'm going to get started. I'll walk through this, but you now have Kubernetes running. And if we want to manage things, maybe I should do it this way. Let's do it like your way. Let's just go and should we do it? Let me think here. Let's make a new repository because that's what you do, right? Let's make a new repo. Okay, if I want to do this GitOps part, do you want to do the GitOps part? Maybe I should ask. Do you want to do the GitOps part, or did you just want to get the cluster set up? I'll ask. I like to do everything with GitOps because then I can delete it and I can tear it down. I can just stand it back up, and then because everything is in Git, I can start up. I can get all the stuff. So we'll keep on. I'm going to put it in here so you can see how I do. What Jonas was on here a little bit ago. Like, I think he forked it, or he kind of just like copied the pattern. You can take this and you can follow the same kind of multi-tenancy approach. Even if you only have one cluster, you can decide, you can give yourself a nice way of floating between different configurations. All with Flux, you can have different branches, etc. But yeah, I'm going to bootstrap this cluster. I'm going to add my cluster, my Kaiju cluster. I'm going to add it here. So copy. This is the process of using Flux CD. Let's go over here. FluxCD.io. This is a GitOps framework. What it's going to do, what we're doing is we're saying, hey, I want to keep track of what's on this cluster inside of Git. As I make changes to Git, like make sure my cluster gets updated. Make sure my cluster is in sync with what's in Git. So I'm in Flux control. I'm copying this command, this bootstrap command. And what it's going to do, again, I have my GitHub user as an environment variable already, but it's going to put in this repository in clusters. I'm going to, at the end of this command, I'm going to have a K3D-Kaiju cluster, because that's what we just created and that's what we're building, right? So kubectx-c gives me the K3D. Whoa, I'm on the wrong one. Over here. Make sure I do it over here. See, that was a mistake. GitOps, yeah, buddy. So let's go into here. One, Deshaun, Cloud, Flux, Control, Git, pull, ooh, dir and allow. I'm gonna have to. Oh, that worked. Awesome. So I got all my secrets are set up. Git pull. I'm on the latest and greatest. And now when I do kubectx-c, it says K3D-Kaiju. We're going to go back here and we're going to run this command. Copy this to here. Flux, bootstrap to GitHub with this owner, this Deshaun is the value that's in there. Repository equals Flux control. Oh, actually, this GitHub user would be Deshaun-Cloud. And the repository is Flux control on the main branch. And we're going to put this Flux, we're bootstrapping clusters. And the value here was, remember, K3D-Kaiju. So we don't have it up here. We don't have that up here. But when we're done running this command, we'll have a K3D-Kaiju. It'll have the Flux operator and stuff. And it'll put a copy of it into my GitHub. And it'll deploy the Flux system to that cluster. Oh, I didn't install the Flux CLI. Ugh, look at this. Let's get started. Install the Flux CLI with Homebrew. Hello. This is a little like, I wanted to be on the chill. This is a little like more than chill. This is like, hey, get up, get up. So I'm gonna bounce a little bit, bounce it around to a different song. So we're doing GitOps. I just installed the Flux CLI. Now I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna run that same command, the bootstrap command on Kaiju. So what I will see, not here, what I'll see over here is when I'm done, I'll go in and look at my Kaiju cluster and I'll see that I've got Flux installed. Over here, if I go to our Flux control, remember it wasn't there. I'm gonna hit refresh and we're gonna see it. Oh, what did I do wrong? Oh, it's still working. So it just has that directory. It's still working. Wait, why is it? Oh, it only has the one directory. But still, why did it do that? Because I didn't have anything else in there? All right, I'll allow it. So now I've got Flux. Let's go over here, go back to K9s. And I'm gonna hit 0 again. So now I've got two namespaces. I've got the Flux stuff, which fairly lightweight, 34, 44, 47,
77, 80, 93 megs. So I've got 93 megs and 48. So I'm pushing it a little bit, right? In order to have my GitOps infrastructure, I'm pushing it. But the cool thing is I'm still well within the means of delivering Flux on top of Kubernetes with, we're gonna do Keta this time. So I want to, in this cluster, K3, I'm gonna go back over here to my IDE. I'm doing git pull. So I have all the latest and greatest. So I have that new folder. And what I want to do, the way that I'm doing it, is I want to deploy some infrastructure. I want to deploy Keta. So for me, the cool thing is all I have to do is go, hey, make a new directory, infrastructure. And I'm pretty sure I can just copy and paste Keta. Let's go look at what we pasted. I don't think that there's any domain specific stuff. Customization, we're going to put it into this. It's named Keta. We're going to put it into the Flux system namespace. This infrastructure, it's pointing to infrastructure Keta, which is down here. It's deploying by a Helm chart. So there's no naming, no anything. I can deploy this Keta to this Kaiju cluster. That's all I have to do. So in order to get that done, clear git add dot git status. I'm adding, what did I modify in the README? Oh, the local registry. So I was adding this as, here's how I'm going to go and, how I can create a local registry inside of K3D. So we'll go ahead and add that, right? Oh, and then this is to use that registry. So this is a change. I'm kind of glad that I did it separate. So create a cluster using local registry. By doing this first, I create a local Docker registry so I don't have to send things up to Docker Hub. I can be developing locally and I can push to my local registry instead of up. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna just copy this. I'm gonna take this. So I'm gonna just, I like to just, I'm giving myself notes. And I'm gonna add those. Use local registry with K3D and add Keta to K3D Kaiju. So I'm doing a commit. I made a change to a README, and then I also added this file in that folder. So I committed it locally. We're going to do git push. Now it's in the repo, but I've configured Flux. I configured Flux to look at this cluster, K3D Kaiju. So this Flux system says, hey, yeah, I'm looking here, and I just added Keta. So now when I go back over here, I expect Keta to show up in K3D Kaiju because I added it here. So we'll wait a sec. It's downloading the Helm chart. There it is. There's Keta. So now I've got my infrastructure. Now I'm ready to deploy stuff. Keta allows me to scale to 0. It's one way that I can scale to 0. So it's getting stood up. I'm interested in these memory numbers, because that's going to be my limiting factor when I'm trying to do this on 512 megabytes. So here locally, this is my laptop. It's got more than 512 megabytes, but I'm going to go grab another Raspberry Pi, not a 0, but another one that has only 512 megabytes, because I'm probably not going to get to it
here before my next meeting, but I want to do this experiment on a single Raspberry Pi that only has 512. I'm gonna do it on a 3B Plus. I think I have a 3B Plus sitting over there. And we're going to see if we can deploy scale to zero apps on a 3B Plus. Because here's the other thing. It's not just about the memory footprint of the scale to zero. If I've got that thing running, it's using power too, right? Maybe not a lot, but still. Like, why have things running when they don't need to be? So we're gonna get into that. But here, now I've got Keta. Are you keeping up? Or did you choose to do the GitOps piece? So we like Flux CD, that's my choice. Argo CD is another popular option. But there's lots of ways of getting GitOpsy. Question from Annie Tux. You ever set up Docker Hub webhooks with Flux? I'm lazy, so Docker Hub webhooks. So that when the image lands, that you automatically pick up. So I think that's maybe, yeah. So one way that I could do that, and I've allowed myself to do that, is when I push, like I made a new tag called latest. So this 0023, you can see that I got the same layers here as I do here. If in my Flux here, if I had said in-service gateway, instead of saying specifically version v00.23, I could have just said latest. And Flux would automatically look for a new version of latest. I could say, hey, yeah, go. See if there's a new, and it would do that based on the SHA, based on this value, the digest value. Right, when I went from 22 to 23, it's like, oh yeah, hey, wait, there's a new value here. So Flux just does that. Yeah, if I use that latest tag, Flux will do that for me. But I know, you've operated a platform, and my hesitation to use the latest tag, which I do. The hesitation for me using a latest tag is that I then have to go look at the digest to see which version is actually deployed. I like being able to look at an actual specific tag to say like, hey, I want this one deployed. But now, I think about this a little bit. I got to know what platform I'm on, because even though I deploy this tag, right, in my case, it's a different digest on different platforms. Yeah. So yeah, it is. It's easy enough. So I treat it like main on a real software project. It should always work. Yeah. That should be a single point of truth. Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, good stuff. That was easy. Now, there are some like tricks when you're synchronizing with the repositories. The way that I have my structure set up, and I don't know what I did, but sometimes if I was making a change in a tenant, it wasn't automatically getting pulled in. So I don't have it all completely figured out on like how synchronization happens when you've got like nested dependencies. But yeah, so far so good. It's working right now. So we've got Keta. I'm waiting to see if Maelstrom is good, caught up. We started with a new cluster, and we set up Kubernetes using K3D. Then we plugged it into our GitOps using Flux. And with Flux installed on that cluster, we deployed Keta. And it works so far. So now the cool thing that I can do is I can be on my Juicebox, and I can say, I want the same thing that's deployed on my Juicebox. I want the same thing right here, this tenant. I want the same thing deployed over here on
K3D Kaiju. So I can just go like this, copy, paste. I'm adding tenants. This is configured to go to that Keta branch in my repository. And here we are. So it's okay. I'm going to have this deployed in 2 different clusters. I can have it deployed in 20 different clusters. If I've got a team that's working on Java Grunt Com Dev, then that team can all deploy the same stuff. They can have the same infrastructure set up. Git add dot, git status, git commit, add Java Grunt Com Dev to K3D Kaiju. When I push this, I don't think there's anything else I need. When I push this, I expect to see a dev-javagrunt-com, I think is what it is. Let's go over here to locally. dev-javagrunt-com. And here it comes. It's deploying all the things. Do I need to deploy anything else? This should be deploying the same way as it was over here. The Keta operator should be communicating. It should know that, hey, hello service is going to scale to 0. YouTube listener is going to scale to 0. YouTube service is going to scale to 0. These things are going to scale to 0. Because I configured it that way. So let's see if that happens. So this gateway service says I have a create container configure. Where's my mouse? Why can't, something froze. Something froze on that box. So this is working, this is not. I have nothing. So let's, this is on Kaiju, that laptop over there. And right now it froze. So let me hit this. All right, let me turn it off. Oh, the screen froze. The screen shut off. The laptop went to sleep. Apologies. In the middle of that deploy. But here's the other thing about Kubernetes is like, it has like a control loop. It says, hey, yes, like let's go. Yeah, everything is serverless, right? Scaling to 0 and scaling up. Yes, that is my default because I deploy my default landing, my default target is Raspberry Pis. I don't have cloud money. I have Raspberry Pi money. I got these little devices. I got a few of them. I got these little devices that are running Kubernetes that I can deploy these different things to. So all of my stuff, all of my websites, all of my demos, my examples, they're all running on Raspberry Pis. And we've got a bunch, like Sean.com, Sean.dev. Some of them, they were scaled to 0, so it takes a second for them to scale up. JavaGrunt.com. I see it takes a second for scale, but that's okay. Like that's me. That's fine. RedisGeek.com. There's others. Spring Office Hours. .io. Like these are all running, right? Image service. This one, I like. This is actually running on a NUC. It's not running on a Raspberry Pi. This one's running on a NUC. But it's all running in my closet. Pennies. Like I made these investments and this is what I deploy to, but everything scale up, scale to 0. I got a lot of stuff and I can deploy a lot of stuff to these handful of devices. And I've got options. So today we're looking at Keta. Let me get back over to that box that keeps on going to sleep. And let's get back to where we were because we did our git commit. I shouldn't have to do anything else. We did our git commit. I got to hit 0 to go and see everything. So what we see here is that this failed. Let's see why. Go in and look at our logs. It's waiting to start. What did I do wrong? So like when we do these demos, picking this up from Quora, like either it's going to be like a cool like product demo or it's going to be a troubleshooting demo. And this just went from product demo to troubleshooting demo. So let's see if we can figure out what's happening here. Let's roll up the sleeves a little bit. Actually, I can do it from here. I can go back into that thing. I hit 0, and I can hit D for describe. So it's saying, hey, I want to pull this down, 23. It says ready. Nope, it's not ready. So it's looking for OpenZipkin dev Java Grunt com. It's looking for this, for its Zipkin. It says, hey, I assigned it to this node. It's pulling the image. We got the image. Container image was already present on the machine, and the secret Redis cloud was not found. Oh, so that's why it's failing. Okay, but remember, we're not really using Redis cloud at the moment. So let's go and fix that real quick. In the deploy, why didn't it get the Redis cloud here? I thought I had it fixed for this. What I don't want to have an extra step. What I want is I want to be able to store my secrets. I'm using SOPs, Mozilla SOPs to, oh, I know what it is. I didn't install the key on the cluster. So there's an extra step here. And let me see if I documented that. I hope I did. Again, we went from demo to troubleshooting demo. So over here, right here, add the private key for the cluster. So I need to do this. I got to generate this secret, and I got to pass in this key that I get from my environment variable. So let me do that. I'm gonna do that over here, just in case, because Pink Emma was here, and I have a bad habit of putting keys and stuff up on the screen. So let me do that. Just make sure that doesn't get exposed. Whoops, I'm on the wrong cluster. Oh, daggum. I've got to do this. I got to do this from that box. I got to do it from over here. So I go CD fun, cloud, flux control. Let me move this guy over here. And I think I see a secret. Right, did I? K3D juice key. I want to make a new key for this new cluster. I think I'll be okay here if I do it this way. Please hold. Okay. AD juice. I'm just looking at some values. Is it the FP? Yep. Here we go. So I'm going to do this command. I'm going to make sure I'm in the right context. kubectx. And I'm pushing a private key to that cluster from my secret store. I'm pushing a private key up into the cluster. I think this will work. Will it? It won't, because I don't have that private key on this box. please hold. I'm figuring this out. I want to get this private key up there. I'm trying to think about what's the best way to do it. Because I generated the secrets for this dev box, and there's got to be a way that I can use that secret. It requires me to put that same private key over on the other cluster, but the context is on a different box. So I got two different boxes, two different contexts. I either need to get that context copied over, which I can do that, right? What's the right way to do this here? What's the easy way to do it? Pass that in. So it's this. I got to get that key. So here, I know what to do. Please hold. Please hold. Shell. I'm grabbing the key, and Pingama was here. I don't want to do this on this screen, but here's what we're trying to fix. I'll push this back up. We're trying to fix this is juice. We're trying to fix the K3D Kaiju that we set up. So I'm just putting a secret over there. So please hold. I'm going to do that real quick. I'll look at this. Here's my instructions. G. And I want dollar K3D juice, right? K3D underscore juice underscore KFP. Wait, K3D dash K3D underscore. So I got to get this secret. K3D juice. Key FP dollar quote. Says key not found, invalid user ID. Oops, because I'm in the wrong folder. Fun. I put in each folder, I have my own context, so it pulls those environment. It pulls into my environment variable, into my environment. It pulls values from my secret store. So I need to go into, right? I can show this, right? Hopefully. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Pingama. So when I go into Flux control, you'll see that all these values get populated. What they did was they called out to my secret store for some, and they pulled down the values, the secret values, so that the values don't sit on my disk. They only exist in my secret store, which is Bitwarden. So now that I'm there, now I have those values in my environment because I'm in there using Durenv. And now I can say, hey, let me get that value. And then I can say, oh, let me do it this way. Let me export that. No, I'm just going to copy and paste that. I'll do it to PB copy, pipe PB copy, done. And then I go back over to Kaiju. I go back over to this box. I say, hey, now that I'm attached to this other cluster, this other context, now I want to do the rest. So I've got the key. Kubectl create secret generic sops gbg dash dash namespace equals flux dash system dash dash from dash file equals sops dot asc
equals /dev/stdin. Can I do it this way? Nope. Let's do key. Yeah, key dot key. And let's paste that. Right. And let's try that command again. Ooh. Oh, blast. I made a big mistake. And let's do this with /key.key. All right, so now I have a secret generated. I put my secret. This is how I'm just doing my secrets. Like, you don't need to do this. But now I've got a secret that's stored and it's encrypted. So that secret actually lives in my Flux control. Those secrets are here, but they're encrypted. So in order to decrypt them, I had to put that public key into the cluster so it could decrypt, so it could read those secrets. Otherwise it couldn't, right? That's the error that we were running into. So this is K3D juice. We're back over here. Let's do K9s. And what we should see is now we have a secret. And there we go. Gateway service is running. So we're on Kaiju. Gateway service is running. I expect this and this to scale to 0, right? Because we have Keta set up. Look at, they're gone. They scale to 0. Here's a good question. Did you ever have SD cards dying due to too many writes from the Raspberry Pi? Yes, because I've been doing Raspberry Pi stuff for a very long time. But the newer stuff, the newer Raspberry Pis, the newer operating systems, you will not run into this as much. You won't run into this from writes. The only way that you're going to run into SD card issues that I know of is if you're running off of SD cards and you're not shutting down properly. If you have a slower SD card and you're not shutting down properly, sometimes that causes the SD card to fail. eMMC is the way to go. Right? We have options, but what I do is I'm using these little devices. Let me see if I got one. I like to boot from USB. So even on my Raspberry Pi 3s, I like to boot from USB, and I use these little USB. These are my favorites. They're SanDisk. Ooh. Watch this. I got all this sorts of technology. Boom. Look at this. These are SanDisk USB devices. So these ones have worked out well for me. I actually used these when I was doing larger infrastructure. I booted up my ESXi off of those devices for my VMware infrastructure. So I've been using those for a long time. I'm a fan of those devices. So yeah, so glad to help. And if you want help booting from USB, actually I have a blog post that I think will help get you through. It's over here somewhere. The iSCSI one. I have one that kind of goes through the step. Here we go. It says booting with iSCSI, but the steps that you take to boot with iSCSI are the same steps, these steps that allow you to boot from USB. Yep. You have to enable the USB boot mode. And you can stop here. Once you've done these things, your device, your Raspberry Pi 3, will boot from USB. And the newer Raspberry Pi devices, they have that automatic. So yeah, good luck. But that's what we're doing. Right now we're running K3D on this Kaiju box. Oh, and those are my beeps that I need to go, but let's validate. Let's validate that things are working. So what we're going to do is, because we didn't deploy the Cloudflare D, let's do this. Let's do a port forward on the gateway service. So I'm up here and I'm hitting Shift F. Whoops. I thought I was hitting Shift F. I want to go up here. Oh, I hit Control F. I want to hit Shift F to port forward. So 8080. There should be an F that pops up. So 8080 on Kaiju should go to that service gateway. And that service gateway should be routing things. So let's go over here. Let's say Kaiju. I think I should be able to do Kaiju 8080. And what this should do is it should pull up javagrunt.com. It should route through to the static website javagrunt.com. Oh, and it didn't. I might have to do Kaiju.local. So I got to get to this box to show this working. Why? Let me see if I can do it by IP. Maybe, maybe not. Why didn't it? Wait, why didn't this work? I'm doing the port forward. Maybe it only takes that port from localhost. Let's do this. Let's do this. Clear. Let's do HTTP 80. So we're on Kaiju 8080 / this should pull up the javagrunt.com website. Boom. Hopefully, there you go. Yes, there's the javagrunt.com website. So it's about that port. I only had it for localhost. Oh, and I just got a couple minutes. So let's do the thing where we want to stand up one of the other services. Wait, why is YouTube service not scaled down? Why? Oh, there goes. Wait, no. Why is this one not scaled down? Wait, hold on. Is it scaled down over here? Well, that's interesting. So Keda did the scale down for everything over here properly, is what I expect. But on this side, the YouTube service did not get scaled down. Why is that? I want to do this. I'm going to hit the K button. I'm going to do Control K to kill it. And because I'm doing GitOps, I'd be like, oh, wait, no, we need one of those running. But I expect it to scale down, and I'm not sure why it wasn't scaling down. But let's do one of the others. So I want to show you that it'll scale up on the back end. To validate, oh, let's go back here to my other window here. Wait, where did it go? Here you go. We're going to hit, instead of that, we're going to hit YouTube-listener. And what we should see is the YouTube listener stand up over here. Takes a sec, scale it up, boom. And I thought YouTube service scale down, as it should. Boom, boom. So, this was fun. Maelstrom, I hope that was a valuable path. James, I hope that was a valuable path that we took. Everything is scaled to 0. But what I would like to do for the next soon is I want to grab that Raspberry Pi 3B Plus
that only has 512 megs. I want to get that set up and deployed, and I'll just have it running here. And I'll boot it up with the USB and we'll get it going. But then I want to do the same experiment. I want to see if we can get Java Grunt COM running with scale to 0, all the stuff, Keta, Flux controlled on a 512 megabyte Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. That's kind of the next step. That's what we want to do. That's why I went down this path with Keta, is because I believe that this native image, right, only 125 megs, combined with Keta, is actually a better approach to scaling to 0 than what I've been doing in production with Knative serving. It's not better, but it's a smaller footprint approach that'll give me all the same benefits. Instead of having Knative deployed everywhere and controlling everything, I will still just have a gateway service that's up and running. So we'll see. So I'm going to wrap up because I got to go do another thing. But this was fun. Yeah, this was fun. I enjoyed it. And yeah, I meant to hit this button. I hope you had fun. I hope you learned something. Maelstrom, I hope that was fun. And yeah, I hope to see you around soon. If you had fun, yeah, click the buttons and like, follow, subscribe, or whatever it is, wherever you are. But this was fun for me. And what's coming out next? Andy Tux is going to be on later today at Anti Tux. So I'm going to do one more shout out. I do /shout out to Anti Tux. I will try to be joining there. But also Jitter Ted is going to be on later today because I saw his announcement. Alexander Roman. Whoa. This is cool, folks. We have somebody famous in the audience, and I want to show you the famous thing that this is top of mind before we leave. This is a repository that Alexander made just recently, and I want to find it because it's on my bookmarks. And where is it? Hello, bookmarks at the bottom because it's a new one. And it is, where did I put it? It's the news one. Why is it not showing up? I want to find this. I want to find the news bookmark. Bookmark, show, bookmarks. Where did it go? Oh, it's in this bucket. Here it is. Here's the one. This is the repository that I want you all to check out. If you're interested in Spring AI, this is a really fun project. This is on my list of favorite Spring AI projects so far. I want you to check this out. This is from Alexander Romans. It's new. It's only days old. It's hot. Ooh, let's go ahead and scoot over here. This is the one. I want you to take a look at this. If you like it, make sure to give it a star. If you're interested in learning about Spring AI, this is a great example for some of the things that you can do, some of the cool things you can do. So take it for a spin. And Alexander, thank you so much for joining us. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out. Yeah, and stop by again soon. It'd be fantastic. Andy Tux will be on YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, fun day. And again, thank you so much. And we hope to see you again soon. Take care.